Hey friends, happy Tuesday, 22nd of June. Hope you're doing well. Today is a memorial of John Fisher and Thomas More, a couple of martyrs in England, as well as a bishop in the 4th century, Paulinus of Nola. John Fisher and Thomas More, we might know Thomas More like man for all seasons. That would be the way that most of us would know him. Both of them were martyred right around this time, 1535. By King Henry VIII. And so a good time to just be praying for Christian unity to continue, right? That the old heartaches and heartburn that exists in Christianity, that the Spirit might continue to guide us on paths of unity and peace. I'll give you a reflection. I invite you, read the readings. There's a link over on the sidebar. If you haven't read the readings prayerfully, and then turn off the screen, spend a little bit of time before moving on with other things. Speaking of unity, we have some of that in the first reading from the book of Genesis. Right now, these stories of the patriarchs are trying to explain current history at the time that they're written through the lens or through the idea of the patriarchs. And so, why is it that we as the descendants of Israel live in the highlands of Israel in Canaan? And the answer is, well, let's tell you a story about, patriarch Abraham and his kinsman Lot. And so they went to this new land, and Abram desired that there would be, unity among these households. So a little bit of unity there, right? So he said to Lot, why don't you choose where you want to go, and then I'll go a different direction. And so Lot chose the plains of the Jordan. Abram chose the highlands, and that, my child, is the reason why we live in the highlands. And those people who are similar to us, but yet different, they're like kinsfolk, but they're distant, they live in the Jordan. And it's because of the ancestors, right? Like that's the sort of storytelling that's going on here. What I would draw attention to, what resonates in my heart, is that towards the end of this reading, we have another story of promise from God to Abram about how God is going to take care of Abram. And certainly as I'm praying with these this week, I am asking, why does Abram need to hear the promise over and over and over? Why does it need to be repeated in the stories over and over and over? The scholars will have different reasons about coming from different threads and being brought together by a general editor and coming from different sources. I'm just going to go the psychological route today and just say, how often do I need to be reminded of the fact that I'm loved, of the fact that this story is not just about me, but it's so much larger than me, about the fact that the universe is good and that love is the most powerful force. How often do I need to be reminded that it's not about my failings and my sins, but it's about a God who loves me, right? That's a little bit of what I was thinking about in relation to these promises to Abram and through Abram to the descendants, right? Promises of blessing. What might we need to be reminded of today? What might we have forgotten that is absolutely core to who we are, to who we've been called to be, to how we are created? How might we be invited to call to mind the goodness of God in the midst of that today? Again, we're kind of reaching the end of the Sermon on the Mount in the Gospel. So we have kind of 3 or 4 teachings of Jesus here. Something here might resonate with you that's not resonating with me. We have here what St. Augustine called the golden rule, the rule that is gold, right? Do to others whatever you would have them do to you. This is the law and the prophets. And Jesus likely is borrowing this from a rabbi, Hillel, who probably came up with it first. And like any good preacher, if you hear something great, you appropriate it for yourself. How might we be invited to make a choice for someone else, to do good for them like we would like someone else to do for us? Let us pay attention to that. Let's try to cultivate that perhaps today. All right, read the readings prayerfully if you haven't yet done so. Turn off the screen, spend a little bit of time in prayer before moving on with other things. Happy Tuesday. Let's be praying for each other and especially praying for those that are having a hard time. God bless.